I'm going to have Lieutenant Mattia kick things off this morning.
Good morning, Lieutenant Terrence Mattia. Just give you an update on the homicide investigation that Sam spoke to you about yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, sent a press release out on. Today we're comfortable in releasing the victim's name. It's Dylan Montalou Trevino. He's a 19-year-old man from Sioux Falls. We were able to notify several members of the family and give them the family time to notify the rest of everybody that they could, so it wasn't a shock for them when they found out through other sources. Yesterday afternoon, late yesterday afternoon, we were able to arrest Asher Wayne Parks for several counts. I believe Sam released those, but I'll run through them again for those that didn't know. It's first and second degree murder, first degree manslaughter, aggravated assault, as well as attempted robbery, first degree robbery. Yesterday afternoon, there was a lengthy autopsy that took place. We do know that the victim was shot numerous times, and I'm only going to be able to release that he was shot numerous times because the exact amount's not known. It's just a preliminary autopsy report right now that we have. As far as toxicology reports for the victim and/or anything pertaining to the suspect, those take time. We won't be able to release anything for the suspect due to criminal prosecution in the future. But the toxicology reports for the victim as well should come back in about 4 to 6 weeks. And at this point, we have no reason to believe that there was any illegal narcotics involved or anything like that that would have led to this altercation or disagreement between the two men taking place. Can say that Asher was taken into custody probably about an hour and 20 minutes, around 2:20, 2:30 in the morning. Officers located him with some information from Susanna Trevino, who was a witness and in the residence at the time the shooting took place. Last night, officers finished up and closed out the search warrant at around 11 o'clock last night after doing extensive research for the crime scene itself and where the shooting took place. And I shouldn't say shooting, where the murder took place. Other than that, don't have many updates. He's still in custody. You had a question? Sorry.
Yeah, did you recover a murder weapon?
Yep, so the firearm was recovered shortly in a close proximity to where Mr. Parks was located and detained and eventually arrested. We did recover a firearm. We don't know for certain if that's the firearm that was used because that takes forensic testing as well. But right now we believe that it is, but that still has to be confirmed through testing with the state lab as well.
A handgun?
Yes, it was a semi-automatic handgun is what we believe was used.
The victim, can you spell the name, please?
Sure can. First name is Dylan, D-I-L-L-I-O-N. Montalou is M-O-N-T-I-L-E-A-U-X hyphen Trevino, T-R-E-V-I-N-O. 19 years old, yeah, I had said that. I'm not going to give out his date of birth, but he's a 19-year-old male.
I was just going to ask, do we know exactly how many times he'd been shot?
Nope, we don't know for certain because it's still a preliminary autopsy report. So there has to go extensive forensic testing behind that, and the coroner's report goes to the state lab as well so that the weapons specialist or firearm specialist can confer with that report when they're making their determinations. So can't give you a solid number on that. I know it's more than once, and it's several shots at least at a minimum.
Can you explain the reason behind the aggravated assault and robbery charges he's facing?
Yep, so once the suspect reportedly left the location in the house that the murder took place, he pointed that firearm at, believed he pointed the firearm at Susanna Trevino and attempted to take a vehicle from the house, but he was unable to do so and reportedly fled the residence.
Can you disclose the amount of shell casings found?
No, I can't do that, just because it could be inaccurate in the future. So, like several houses in Sioux Falls may have shell casings if people do reloading and things like that or whatever. So an accurate amount I cannot give you on that. There's numerous shell casings.
Glad to wrap this up so quickly.
Yep, and it comes down to the officers on the street. They worked immediately, within minutes, they were at that residence. They did an outstanding job with the family, with the crime scene, locating the suspect so quickly. Without their help, we wouldn't have been where we're at. And I'd also like to say, I mean, Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, the paramedics that were on scene as well, including medical staff at both hospitals, were pretty fortunate in the city of Sioux Falls to have such great medical professionals. That Dylan was able to live for an extended period of time despite the wounds he sustained. So all that coupled together with the medical and the crime scene investigation initially is how we got to where we are now. So, anything else? Gents? Thank you.
Okay. Just kind of go through things on the log. The aggravated assault, actually one of them was a domestic strangulation case. The other was basically kind of a neighbor type dispute, but had people that said a man pointed a gun at them. Turns out it was a BB gun, so no injuries from that. He was arrested. The 2 assaults are simple assaults, nothing big from the burglaries. We had a couple of, actually one garage, a storage unit, and then an apartment was entered. The disorderly conduct's the first one we had. Both of these are reports, I guess some similarities, but one of them was yesterday afternoon. We had some people in the neighborhood noticed there was a guy in a van that seemed to be watching a group of girls. There was about 5 girls between 10 and 12 years old. Seemed a little bit odd. He was there for quite a while and then ended up leaving on his own. This was in the 2900 block of South Lucerne Avenue, Lucerne. The only description we had was a possibly Hispanic man in a white van. And I guess that's kind of a dead-end road, and so they really don't have a whole lot of reason why somebody would just be parked there. They initially thought it might have been delivering a package, but he just sat there for an extended amount of time. And the other one, that was about 8:30 last night. We had a 14-year-old girl that was walking home. She noticed that there was a gold car that was following her. This was near 2nd Street and Kiwanis Avenue. The guy drove by a few times. At one point, he kind of said something, and the girl kept walking. She tried to speed up, and then he sped up, and eventually he turned off, but it was several blocks that he was following her, so she was a little concerned about that. The only description we had of the driver was a black man.
How old is she?
She was 14 years old.
14, around what time was this?
That was about 8:30 last night. The family offenses are all reports. The frauds, ID thefts, credit cards, some cash missing. Nothing big from the larcenies, a few shopliftings, a couple of unlocked cars. Nothing big. The narcotics, no big quantities on those. The sex offense, that was a guy that was in the hospital. He was a patient, and I'm not sure exactly why he was in there, but he exposed himself multiple times to nurses and actually tried to grab one of the nurses, grab her in the genital area. He was arrested for indecent exposure and then attempted sexual contact. It doesn't sound like there was any sexual contact, but obviously he tried. The simple assaults were some more reports and domestics. Nothing suspicious from the unattended death, and the vandalism was an apartment door. And that's really all that I have. Any other questions? Okay.